Rain was falling hard that night. A woman stood outside a dark mansion, holding the hands of two little twins. Her face was full of fear. Her eyes kept looking behind, as if someone was following her. She whispered to the children, "Please, no matter what happens, do not say a word." But the moment the giant door opened, the little boy looked at the man standing inside. His small eyes went wide. And then he said one word that froze everyone. "Dad." The woman's heart almost stopped. The powerful Mafia boss standing at the door slowly turned toward her. His face became cold. His eyes filled with shock. Because the twins had the same eyes, the same face, and the same birthmark he had seen before. But the real question is, why was she hiding his children from him? And what terrible truth was she running from? Stay till the end, because what happens next will change all of their lives forever. And before we go deeper into this shocking story, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, drop a like, and tell us in the comments which country you are watching from. We always love seeing how far our stories reach around the world. The rain had been falling over Chicago for almost 3 hours. Cold. Heavy. Relentless. Every streetlight reflected on the wet roads like broken pieces of gold. Sophia Bennett pulled her coat tighter around herself as she hurried down the empty sidewalk, her hands trembling from cold and fear. But she was not alone. Two tiny hands held tightly onto hers. On her left was Ethan, only 4 years old. On her right was Lily, his twin sister. Both children were half asleep, their small faces hidden under wool caps. Their little shoes splashed through puddles as they tried to keep up with their mother's fast steps. "Mommy, where are we going?" Lily asked softly. Sophia looked down at her daughter. Her heart broke instantly. Even in the dark, she could see the tiredness in the little girl's eyes. "Just a little farther, sweetheart," Sophia whispered. Her voice was soft. Gentle. But inside, she was shaking. Because tonight was the night everything changed. Tonight, the past had found her again. And this time, it came wearing black suits. For years. For 4 long years, Sophia Bennett had lived like a ghost. Different cities. Different names. Different apartments. Never staying too long. Never trusting anyone. Never letting the twins ask too many questions. She had learned how to disappear. How to blend into crowds. How to keep moving. How to survive. But most importantly, how to keep the truth hidden. The truth about their father. The truth about Adrian Moretti. The most feared mafia boss in Chicago. A man whose name alone made people lower their voices. A man powerful enough to make police officers look the other way. A man dangerous enough to destroy anyone who crossed him. And Sophia had crossed him in the worst possible way. She had disappeared. With his children. Her breathing grew heavier as she reached the old apartment building. It stood between 2 abandoned stores on the edge of the city. Cracked walls. Broken windows. A flickering hallway light. The kind of place no one important would ever look. That was exactly why she chose it. Sophia quickly unlocked the door and rushed inside with the twins. The room was small. 1 bed. 1 old sofa. A tiny kitchen. Nothing more. But for now, it was safe. At least she hoped so. She locked the door twice. Then checked the window curtains. Then checked again. This had become a habit. Fear had become routine. "Mommy, are the bad men coming?" Ethan asked. Sophia froze. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. She slowly turned toward him. His big blue eyes looked up at her. Those eyes. Exactly like his father's. Stormy gray blue. Sharp. Beautiful. Dangerous. Sophia knelt in front of him and forced a smile. No, baby. No one is coming. But even as she said the words, she did not believe them herself. 3 hours earlier, everything had started at the grocery store. Sophia had gone there only for milk and bread. A simple trip. Normal. Safe. At least that's what she thought. Then she saw him. A tall man in a black coat standing near the frozen section. Dark hair. Scar above the eyebrow. Expressionless face. Sophia's blood turned cold. She knew that face. His name was Marco De Luca. One of Adrian Moretti's most trusted men. The man who never left Adrian's side. If Marco was here, then Adrian was searching. Searching for her. Searching for the twins. Her worst nightmare had finally become real. She left the cart right there and ran. Didn't even look back. Didn't even pay. Only grabbed the twins and disappeared into the crowd. And since then, the fear had not left her chest. Sophia sat on the edge of the bed while the twins slept beside her. Rain tapped softly against the window. But her mind was far away. Back to 4 years ago. Back to the night everything began. She had been 23. Young. Naive. Working as a waitress in an upscale downtown restaurant. That was where she first met Adrian Moretti. He walked in surrounded by men in expensive suits. The entire room changed. People became silent. Staff moved faster. Even the manager personally greeted him. Sophia had never seen power look so effortless. Tall. Dark-haired. Perfectly dressed. His eyes cold enough to freeze the room. But when he looked at her, something changed. Something dangerous. Something impossible to ignore. He came back the next night. Then the next. And the next. Always asking for the same table. Always asking for Sophia. What started with short conversations turned into long nights. Late dinners. Private drives through the city. Rooftop views. Expensive gifts. Soft smiles she had never seen him give anyone else. For the first time in her life, Sophia felt chosen. Special. Loved. But love with men like Adrian Moretti always came with shadows. And shadows always hide secrets. The truth came too late. By the time Sophia realized Adrian was not just a businessman but the most feared mafia boss in Chicago, she was already pregnant. With twins. When she told him, the look in his eyes terrified her. Not anger. Not disappointment. Something worse. Possession. A dark kind of happiness. You and the children belong with me now, he had said. Not we belong together. Not I love you. No. You belong with me. Those words never left her mind. Because that was the moment she understood. Adrian did not love people. He owned them. Controlled them. Protected them. And destroyed them. Then came the shooting. One terrible night. Bullets. Screams. Blood. A rival gang attacked Adrian's convoy. Sophia had been in the car. Pregnant. Terrified. She still remembered the glass shattering beside her face. Adrian's hand pulling her down. His voice cold and sharp. Stay down. That was the night she made her decision. Her children would never grow up in this world. Never around guns. Never around death. Never around fear. So before sunrise, she vanished. No note. No goodbye. No explanation. Only silence. And Adrian Moretti had been hunting that silence ever since. A loud knock suddenly hit the apartment door. Sophia jumped to her feet. Her heart almost stopped. Another knock. Harder this time. The twins stirred in their sleep. Sophia slowly moved toward the kitchen counter. Her hand reached for the small knife. Her fingers trembled. "Who is it?" she asked. Silence. Then a voice. Low. Male. Calm. Package delivery. Sophia's face turned pale. At midnight? No. Impossible. Her instinct screamed. Don't open the door. Then came the third knock. Slow. Heavy. Intentional. The kind that carried power. The kind that said the person outside already knew she was inside. Sophia stepped back. Every breath became sharp. Then the voice came again. This time colder. Sophia. Her blood froze. No one had called her by that name in 4 years. No one. Except one man. Her hands went numb. Her knees almost gave out. Because she knew that voice. Even after all these years. She would recognize it anywhere. Adrian. The twins woke up. Lily sat up, rubbing her eyes. Mommy? Sophia rushed to them. Listen to me carefully, she whispered. Her voice cracked. Go into the closet and stay quiet. No matter what happens, do not come out. Do you understand? Ethan looked scared. But Mommy. No questions, baby. Just do it. The fear in her voice made them obey. Sophia kissed both of their foreheads quickly and hid them inside the closet behind hanging coats. Then she turned toward the door. Her heart pounded so loudly it felt like the whole room could hear it. Another knock. Then silence. Heavy silence. The kind that fills the air before a storm. Sophia slowly walked to the door. Her hand rested on the lock. For 1 second. She thought about running through the back fire escape. But it was too late. He was already here. She opened the door. And there he stood. Adrian Moretti. More powerful. More dangerous. More terrifying than ever. Black coat. Raindrops on his shoulders. Sharp jaw. Storm-colored eyes locked directly onto hers. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The world outside disappeared. Only silence remained. Then Adrian finally spoke. His voice low. Cold. Deadly calm. You hid from me for 4 years. Sophia swallowed hard. Her throat dry. I had to. His eyes darkened. Then he stepped inside. Slowly. Deliberately. Like a king entering territory that already belonged to him. I searched every city. His gaze moved around the room. Small bed. Children's toys in the corner. Tiny shoes near the sofa. His expression changed. Just slightly. But Sophia saw it. He knew. He already knew. Then Adrian's eyes stopped at the pink stuffed rabbit lying on the floor. And beside it, a small blue toy car. Twin toys. His jaw tightened. He looked back at Sophia. And in a voice so quiet it felt more dangerous than shouting, he asked. How many children, Sophia? Sophia's face lost all color. Her lips parted but no words came out. Then, from inside the closet, a tiny sleepy voice broke the silence. A child's voice. Soft, innocent, and devastating. "Mommy, who is that?" Adrian's eyes slowly lifted. Every muscle in Sophia's body turned to ice. Then came the words that changed everything. The little boy's voice again. Clear. Simple. Heart-stopping. "Is that Dad?" For one long, frozen moment, no one moved. The room became so silent that Sophia could hear the rain hitting the window. Her heart slammed hard against her chest. Her hands turned cold. Inside the closet, little Ethan's sleepy voice still hung in the air. "Is that Dad?" Sophia felt the blood drain from her face. No. No, no, no. This was the one thing she had prayed would never happen. Not like this. Not tonight. Not with Adrian standing only a few feet away. Slowly, painfully slowly, Adrian turned his head toward the closet door. His storm-gray eyes narrowed. Then he looked back at Sophia. And for the first time since entering the room, his face changed. Not anger. Not coldness. Something far more dangerous. Shock. Real shock. His voice came out low and almost disbelieving. "Children?" Sophia's lips trembled. She wanted to lie. Wanted to say they were not his. Wanted to invent some story. But one look into Adrian Moretti's eyes told her the truth. He already knew. Maybe not everything, but enough. Her silence had already answered him. Adrian took one slow step forward. Sophia immediately moved in front of the closet. "No." Her voice was shaking, but firm. "You will not go near them." His eyes dropped to her face. Then to the trembling hand she still held against the closet door. For a moment, something almost human passed through his expression. Pain. Then it disappeared. "Sophia," he said quietly, "move." "No." This time stronger. More desperate. "They are sleeping. They are scared." His jaw tightened. "And they are mine." The words hit the room like thunder. Sophia felt tears burn behind her eyes. There it was. The same possessive darkness. The same terrifying certainty she had run from 4 years ago. Mine. Always mine. Inside the closet, Lily's soft voice came next. "Mommy, it's dark." Sophia's heart broke instantly. She turned halfway toward the door. "It's okay, sweetheart. Stay there for just 1 minute." Adrian's eyes never left her face. "Open it." "No." His voice dropped colder. "Open the door, Sophia." Her breathing became uneven. "You don't understand," she whispered. "They are just children." For the first time, Adrian's voice cracked with emotion. "That is exactly why I need to see them." Those words hit her differently. Not like a threat. Not like a command. Something else. Something raw. Sophia looked at him carefully. For years she had remembered him as untouchable. Powerful. Controlled. Emotionless. But now, there was something broken in his eyes. A crack in the armor. Slowly, she opened the closet door. The twins blinked against the light. Lily clutched her stuffed rabbit tightly. Ethan held his toy car in one hand. Both children looked up at the tall stranger standing in their tiny apartment. Adrian stood completely still. His face unreadable. But his eyes. His eyes changed. The moment he saw them, everything changed. Ethan's dark hair. Lily's soft curls. The sharp shape of their small faces. And then their eyes. His eyes. Storm gray. Exactly like his own. Adrian's breathing visibly slowed. As if the entire world had stopped around him. Sophia had never seen him speechless before. Never. The most feared man in Chicago stood there unable to speak. Lily hid behind Sophia's leg. "Mommy, who is he?" Sophia opened her mouth, but no words came. Because how could she explain this? How could she tell two innocent children that the most dangerous man in the city was their father? Before she could answer, Adrian slowly knelt down. His expensive black coat brushed against the floor. His voice became softer than Sophia had ever heard. "My name is Adrian." Ethan tilted his head. The little boy stared directly into his face. Children had a strange way of seeing truth. Sometimes better than adults. "You look like me," Ethan said innocently. Sophia closed her eyes. God. This was happening. Adrian looked at the boy for a long moment. Then something shocking happened. He smiled. A real smile. Small. Almost broken. "Yes," he said quietly. "I suppose I do." Lily looked up next. Her little voice soft and uncertain. "Are you our daddy?" The room froze again. Sophia's chest tightened painfully. She watched Adrian's face carefully. This answer could change everything. His eyes lifted to Sophia. A silent question. A silent accusation. A silent wound. Then he looked back at Lily. And said in the gentlest voice possible. "Yes." Sophia felt tears fill her eyes. Because instead of fear, instead of confusion, Lily smiled. A pure innocent smile. The kind only children can give. "I knew it," she whispered happily. Adrian's expression shattered for a moment. Sophia saw it clearly. This man who had faced bullets, enemies, and death without fear, looked completely undone by one little smile. Ethan stepped closer. "Where were you?" The question landed like a knife. Sophia immediately looked at Adrian. This was the question she had feared most. Because children do not understand complicated truths. They only understand presence. Or absence. Adrian looked at the boy carefully. Then answered honestly. "I didn't know about you." Sophia's heart skipped. He was telling the truth. Simple. Direct. No lies. Ethan frowned slightly. "Mommy said dads protect their kids." Sophia inhaled sharply. Adrian's eyes darkened. He slowly stood up. Then looked directly at Sophia. 1,000 unspoken words passed between them. Pain. Betrayal. Anger. And something deeper. Hurt. Real hurt. His voice became low. "You never told me." Sophia lifted her chin. "No. I didn't." "Why?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Because I refused to let them grow up in your world." The room fell silent. Even the rain outside seemed quieter. Adrian stared at her. Then his voice came cold. "My world?" Sophia nodded. "Yes. Guns. Violence. Blood. Men knocking on doors at midnight. I would never let my children live like that." For a moment, Adrian said nothing. His face became unreadable again. Then he looked around the apartment. Peeling paint. Broken heater. Thin blankets. Empty fridge. And finally the twins' worn-out shoes. His jaw clenched. This, he asked coldly. This is the life you chose for them? The words hit hard. Because Sophia had asked herself that same question 1,000 times. Every night. Every unpaid bill. Every hungry morning. Every moment she saw the twins needing more than she could give. Still, she stood her ground. They are alive. His eyes flashed. They are mine. The twins looked confused now. Lily tugged Sophia's sleeve. Mommy, why are you angry? Sophia's heart cracked. She immediately softened her face. I'm not angry, sweetheart. Adrian looked at the children. Then at the room again. His expression shifted from anger to something colder. Decision. You're coming with me. Sophia's eyes widened. No. It wasn't a request. Her voice rose. I am not going anywhere with you. His tone became steel. You and the children are no longer safe here. Sophia laughed bitterly. Safe with a mafia boss? His eyes narrowed. Safer than in this neighborhood. She hated that part of her knew he was right. But going with Adrian meant stepping back into the world she escaped. Back into danger. Back into his control. No. This time firmer. Adrian took one step closer. Marco found your building within hours. Sophia froze. He continued. If I found you, others can too. A cold wave ran through her body. He was right. Again. The rivals who once attacked Adrian would now know about the twins. And children connected to a mafia boss were targets. Sophia suddenly felt sick. She looked at Ethan. At Lily. Fear wrapped around her throat. Adrian's voice softened slightly. Whatever happened between us. His eyes locked onto hers. They come first. For the first time that night, Sophia saw not the mafia boss, but the father. And that terrified her even more. Because a part of her wanted to believe him. Ethan looked up at Adrian. Do you have a big house? Sophia closed her eyes in frustration. Of course that was the question. Adrian actually gave a small smile. Yes. Lily's eyes lit up. Bigger than this? Adrian glanced around the apartment. Yes. Does it have pancakes? This time even Sophia almost broke. Adrian nodded. As many pancakes as you want. The twins looked at each other excitedly. Sophia felt a mix of guilt and pain crush her chest. Because children notice things adults wish they didn't. They noticed the cold apartment. The empty kitchen. The nights Sophia skipped dinner so they could eat. Maybe they didn't understand poverty. But they felt it. Every single day. Adrian extended his hand toward Ethan. Come on. The little boy looked at Sophia first. She hated that she hesitated. Because in that hesitation, the answer was already forming. They had to leave. For the twins. For their safety. For tonight. Just tonight. Sophia finally nodded slowly. Okay. 30 minutes later, black SUVs stood outside the building. Rain still poured heavily. Men in dark suits waited by the cars. Sophia's stomach twisted. This was Adrian's world. Power. Silence. Danger. Ethan climbed into the car excitedly. Lily held Sophia's hand tightly. Adrian stood by the open door. Waiting. Sophia looked at him. This changes nothing. His eyes met hers. That remains to be seen. She hated how calm he sounded. As if he already knew she had no choice. As if he already knew this was only the beginning. Because maybe it was. Sophia climbed inside with the twins. The door shut behind them. The SUV began moving through the rain-soaked streets of Chicago. Toward Adrian Moretti's mansion. Toward the life she ran from. Toward a future she feared. Lily rested her head against Adrian's arm. Completely trusting. Completely innocent. Then she whispered the words that made Sophia's heart stop. "Daddy, will you stay this time?" Adrian looked down at her. His expression changed. Softer. Darker. Promise mixed with pain. Then he answered in a voice so low only those inside the car could hear. "No one will take me away from you again." Sophia looked out the rain-covered window. Because something inside her told her this night was not the end of the secret. It was only the beginning. And somewhere in the shadows of Chicago, someone was already watching the black SUV disappear into the storm. Someone who now knew exactly where the twins were. The black SUV moved through the sleeping city like a shadow. Rain kept sliding down the windows in silver lines. Streetlights passed one by one, throwing flashes of gold across the twins' faces. Ethan had already fallen asleep, his small head resting against Sophia's shoulder. Lily was still awake. Her little fingers held tightly onto Adrian's sleeve. As if she had known him forever. As if he had never been missing from her life. Sophia sat frozen. Every muscle in her body felt tight. Every thought in her mind screamed danger. She had spent 4 years running from this man. And now, she was sitting beside him. Going back with him. Back into the darkness she had once escaped. Adrian sat across from her in silence. His face calm. Unreadable. But every few seconds, his eyes moved toward the twins. A look Sophia had never seen before. Protectiveness. Possession. Something fierce. Something almost primal. Like a man who had suddenly found a part of himself he never knew was missing. Neither of them spoke. The silence between them carried too much history. Too much pain. Too many questions. Finally, Sophia broke it. "This is only temporary." Her voice was cold. Firm. Adrian turned his eyes toward her. "For now." Sophia's jaw tightened. "I mean it." His expression did not change. "So do I." That answer only made her more nervous. Because Adrian never said more than he meant. 20 minutes later, the SUV slowed. Then stopped. Sophia looked out the rain-covered window. Her breath caught. The gates were enormous. Tall black iron gates with gold details. They slowly opened. Beyond them stood a mansion that looked less like a home and more like a fortress. 3 floors. Massive stone walls. Tall windows glowing with warm light. Private security posted at every entrance. Men in black suits standing under umbrellas. Watching everything. Sophia's stomach twisted. This was not a house. This was a kingdom. And Adrian Moretti was its king. The car door opened. One of Adrian's men stepped forward. "Boss." Adrian nodded once. Then looked at Sophia. "We're here." Lily gasped softly. "Wow." Even Sophia had no words. The twins stared at the mansion with wide eyes. For children who had grown up in small apartments and cheap motels, this place must have looked like a palace. Ethan blinked sleepily. "Do princesses live here?" For the first time, Adrian gave a real smile. No. Then his eyes moved to Lily. But one might. Sophia hated how easily the children were already warming to him. And maybe what scared her most was that a part of her understood why. Inside, the mansion was even more overwhelming. White marble floors. Crystal chandeliers. Long hallways lined with expensive paintings. A staircase that curved like something out of a movie. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. Sophia immediately felt out of place. Like a ghost entering someone else's dream. But the twins were amazed. Lily spun in a slow circle. "Mommy, it's so pretty." Ethan ran toward the staircase, his little shoes tapping against the marble. Adrian's expression softened again. He watched them carefully. Like every movement mattered. Then a woman in her 30s approached. Elegant. Brown hair tied back neatly. Warm brown eyes. She looked at Adrian first. Then at Sophia and the twins. A slow smile spread across her face. "Well," she said softly, "so the rumors were true." Sophia frowned. Adrian's voice turned flat. "Lucia." Sophia instantly understood. His sister. Lucia Moretti. The woman stepped closer. Her gaze fell on the children. And suddenly she covered her mouth in shock. "Oh my God." Her eyes filled with emotion. "They look exactly like you." Adrian said nothing. Lucia slowly knelt in front of the twins. "Hello, sweethearts. I'm Aunt Lucia." Sophia blinked. "Aunt?" Lily smiled shyly. "Hi." Ethan looked curious. "Do you make pancakes?" Lucia laughed softly. "Yes. Very good ones." That was enough for Ethan. He smiled immediately. Sophia felt a strange ache in her chest. Because this all looked so normal. Too normal. Like they were a family. A real family. And that thought terrified her. Adrian turned to Lucia. "Prepare the East Wing." Sophia immediately looked at him. "The East Wing?" He nodded. "You and the children will stay there." Sophia's face hardened. "We don't need a wing." Adrian's tone remained calm. "You need security." "I need freedom." For the first time, his eyes darkened. "And freedom is exactly what got you found." The words cut deep. Sophia looked away. Because once again, he was not wrong. Lucia stepped in gently. "Why don't I show the children their room?" Sophia hesitated. Lily was already reaching for Lucia's hand. Ethan followed immediately. "Do you really have pancakes?" Lucia smiled. "At any hour." The twins happily followed her upstairs. Sophia watched them go. Then turned sharply toward Adrian. The moment they were alone, her voice dropped. "You had no right." His eyes locked onto hers. "No right to protect my children?" The word stunned her. My children. Not just hers anymore. His too. Sophia felt anger rise. "You don't get to appear after 4 years and suddenly play father." For the first time, Adrian stepped closer. His voice low. Dangerously calm. "I would have been there every single day if you had given me the chance." Her breathing caught. Because deep down, she knew he was telling the truth. And that truth hurt. Before she could respond, one of Adrian's guards rushed inside. His face tense. "Boss." Adrian turned instantly. "What is it?" The man lowered his voice. We found a vehicle parked outside the north perimeter. Sophia's blood turned cold. Adrian's face became stone. Occupied? The guard nodded. One man. Watching the house. The air in the room changed immediately. Sophia felt it. The warmth disappeared. The mansion suddenly felt colder. More dangerous. Adrian's jaw tightened. Bring him in. Sophia's heart pounded. Someone had followed them. Already. That meant the danger was closer than she thought. Adrian looked at her. Go upstairs. No. His expression sharpened. This isn't a discussion. Sophia stepped closer. If this is about my children, I stay. For a moment, Adrian studied her face. Then gave a short nod. Fine. 10 minutes later, the man was dragged into Adrian's office. His hands tied behind his back. Wet from the rain. Blood at the corner of his mouth. Sophia immediately recognized the tattoo on his neck. A black snake. The same symbol. The same symbol from 4 years ago. Her breath stopped. The rival family. The Volkov syndicate. The people Adrian had once gone to war with. The same people Sophia had run from. The same people who once tried to kill Adrian. Adrian's voice dropped into ice. Who sent you? The man smirked. Victor sends his regards. Sophia felt cold fear spread through her. Victor Volkov. The man Adrian hated most. The one person powerful enough to challenge him. The prisoner's eyes shifted toward Sophia. Then a slow smile spread across his face. So it's true. He laughed softly. The boss has children. Adrian moved so fast Sophia barely saw it. In 1 second, he was across the room. His hand closed around the man's throat, lifting him against the wall. The office fell silent. Sophia's heart pounded wildly. This was the Adrian she remembered. Dangerous. Explosive. Terrifying. His voice became a low growl. You say their names and I end you here. The man coughed but kept smiling. Victor will come for them. Sophia's stomach dropped. Adrian's eyes turned darker than she had ever seen. He can try. Then he let the man drop. The guard dragged him out. But the damage was already done. The threat had been spoken aloud. The twins were no longer hidden. Now they were targets. Sophia looked at Adrian. Her voice barely a whisper. This is exactly why I left. He turned toward her. His face hard. And this is exactly why you should have stayed. She stared at him in disbelief. You call this safe? His voice rose for the first time. With me, yes. She shook her head. No. This world destroys people. His expression changed. Then suddenly he stepped closer. Very close. His voice became quiet. Deadly quiet. You think running protected them? His eyes burned into hers. Tonight proved otherwise. Sophia had no answer. Because once again, he was right. And she hated it. Then came a sound from upstairs. A scream. Lily. Sophia's heart stopped. Without thinking, she ran. Adrian right behind her. They rushed upstairs. Into the east wing. Lily stood in the hallway crying. Ethan beside her. Lucia trying to calm them. Sophia dropped to her knees. What happened? Lily pointed toward the window. There was a man outside. Sophia turned sharply. The curtain moved slightly. The window was open. Cold night air rushed inside. Adrian's face turned to stone. He moved to the window immediately. Outside, a shadow disappeared into the darkness of the garden. One of Victor's men had been close enough to see the twins. Close enough to reach them. Sophia felt pure terror. Adrian's voice thundered through the hallway. Lock down the entire house. Instantly alarms began echoing softly through the mansion. Guards rushed through the halls. Doors locked. Windows sealed. The house transformed from mansion to fortress in seconds. Adrian turned to Sophia. His eyes full of fury. This ends tonight. Sophia looked at him. What are you going to do? His voice dropped into something dark. What I should have done years ago. The words sent chills through her. Because she knew exactly what that meant. War. And this time, it was because of the twins. Lily clung tightly to Adrian's leg. Tiny tears still on her cheeks. Daddy. That one word changed everything. Adrian looked down. The fury in his face softened instantly. Lily's voice trembled. Don't let the bad man take us. For a moment, Sophia saw something impossible. The most feared man in Chicago kneeling in front of a frightened little girl. His voice soft. Protective. Absolute. No one will ever take you. Then he looked at Sophia. And said the words that ended the night in pure suspense. Tomorrow, we move them somewhere even Victor can't find. Sophia's heart pounded. Because she knew that meant one thing. A secret place. A place Adrian had never shown anyone. And if he was taking the twins there, then the danger was far worse than she imagined. The night was too quiet. Too still. Almost as if the mansion itself was holding its breath. Emma sat on the edge of the bed, unable to sleep. The twins were finally resting in the next room. Little Ethan had fallen asleep holding his toy car. And Lily had her tiny hand wrapped around Emma's scarf. For a moment, they looked peaceful. Safe. But Emma knew peace never lasted long. Not in Dominic Moretti's world. And definitely not in hers. She slowly stood up and walked toward the large window. Outside, rain touched the glass in soft drops. The city lights below looked distant. Cold. Beautiful. Dangerous. Just like the man who lived in this house. Dominic. Her fingers tightened around the window curtain. Her mind kept repeating the same words. Dad. That one single word from Ethan earlier had changed everything. She could still see Dominic's face. The way his gray eyes froze. The way his entire body went still. He had heard it. He had felt it. And worst of all, he had started asking questions. Questions Emma had spent 4 long years running from. Her heart started beating faster. Because the truth was no longer safe inside her. It was getting closer to the surface. And once it came out, nothing would ever be the same again. A soft knock came at the door. Emma quickly turned. Come in. The door opened. Lucia stepped inside with a tray of warm tea. Her face was gentle. Kind. But tonight, there was something else in her eyes. Concern. She slowly placed the tray on the table. You still haven't slept? Emma forced a weak smile. I'm not tired. Lucia looked at her carefully. Then moved closer. You're afraid. Emma said nothing. But silence itself was the answer. Lucia sat beside her. For a few seconds, neither woman spoke. Only the sound of rain filled the room. Then Lucia finally said softly, "My brother has not stopped thinking about what the boy said." Emma's breath caught. Her fingers slowly curled. Lucia continued. "He asked Marco to look into your past." Emma's blood turned cold. For a second, the room felt like it was spinning. No. No, no, no. This could not happen. Not now. Not after everything. Her voice came out in a whisper. "What did he find?" Lucia looked down. "Not much." Emma exhaled. But the relief lasted only a second. "Your records disappear 4 years ago." Emma froze. Lucia's eyes lifted to hers. No birth records for the twins. No school history. No hospital details. No father listed. She paused. "Emma, who are you hiding from?" The question hit harder than a slap. Emma looked away. Because the answer was too dangerous. Not only for her. For the children too. Her voice trembled. "Please don't ask me." Lucia watched her for a long moment. Then nodded slowly. "I won't." She stood up. But before leaving, she stopped at the door. "Emma." Emma looked at her. Lucia's voice softened. "If Dominic discovers you are in danger, he will destroy whoever is chasing you." Then she quietly left. The door closed. Emma stood there in silence. Her heart pounding harder than ever. Because Lucia had no idea. The danger was not coming. It was already here. And it was wearing a black suit. The next morning, the twins were laughing in the garden. For the first time in months, Emma saw them smile freely. Lily was chasing butterflies. Ethan was playing with Marco, who pretended to lose every game. Even Marco, the hard-faced bodyguard, couldn't hide a small smile. Emma stood near the stone steps, watching them. Then Dominic appeared beside her. She hadn't even heard him walk over. His presence was like the night. Silent. Heavy. Powerful. He looked toward the children. "They seem happy." Emma nodded softly. "They haven't been this happy in a long time." Dominic's eyes remained on Ethan. "The boy looks at me strangely." Emma's chest tightened. She forced calm into her voice. "He's just a child." Dominic slowly turned toward her. His eyes locked onto hers. "No." His voice was low. "It's more than that." Emma felt fear crawl through her body. Because Dominic was not a stupid man. He noticed everything. The smallest detail. The smallest lie. His gaze became sharper. "How old are they?" Emma swallowed. 4. Dominic's jaw tightened. For a second, something dark moved across his face. Then he asked quietly, "And where is their father?" The question pierced straight through her. Emma looked away. "Gone." Dominic stepped closer. "Dead?" Emma's lips parted. "No." His eyes narrowed. "Then why isn't he with them?" Her breathing became uneven. Because she could not answer. Not without destroying everything. Finally, she whispered. "Because he must never find them." Silence. Heavy silence. Dominic stared at her. Rain clouds gathered above the mansion. The sky itself seemed darker. Then he asked the question she feared most. "Who is he?" Emma's eyes filled with fear. "No one you need to know." Dominic's face hardened. "Wrong answer." His voice became colder. Whoever has made you this afraid is already my problem. Emma shook her head. No. Her voice broke. You don't understand. Dominic took one step closer. Then help me understand. Emma looked into his eyes. Strong eyes. Dangerous eyes. Protective eyes. For 1 second. She almost told him. Almost. But then, a loud scream came from the garden. Mommy! Emma turned instantly. Lily had fallen near the fountain. Before Emma could run, Dominic was already there. He reached Lily first. Lifted her gently into his arms. It's okay, he said softly. You're safe. Emma stopped. Frozen. Because the way he held Lily, the way he spoke, it felt natural. Like he had done it before. Like he belonged there. Lily wrapped her tiny arms around his neck. And then whispered something that made Emma's entire world stop. Daddy? Silence. Pure silence. Even the wind seemed to stop moving. Dominic froze. Emma's heart dropped. No. This was bad. Very bad. Lily looked at him with innocent eyes. I'm sorry, she said softly. You just feel like Daddy. Dominic slowly looked up at Emma. And in that look, there was suspicion, curiosity, and something much deeper. A truth trying to wake up. Emma rushed forward and took Lily from his arms. She's confused, Emma said quickly. She says random things sometimes. But Dominic did not answer. He simply kept staring. As if trying to put pieces together. Pieces Emma had hidden for years. Then Marco suddenly appeared, breathing hard. Boss. Dominic turned. Marco's face was serious. There's a problem. Dominic's expression instantly darkened. What is it? Marco looked briefly at Emma and the children. Then lowered his voice. We found a black SUV outside the north gate. Emma's body went cold. No. No, no, no. Not here. Marco continued. The plates are fake. And 2 armed men were inside. Emma's hands started shaking. Her worst fear had arrived. Dominic noticed instantly. His eyes snapped toward her. You know who they are. It wasn't a question. Emma's silence answered everything. Dominic's voice became colder. Take the children inside. Emma didn't move. Her eyes were full of terror. Dominic. Her voice trembled. You don't understand who these men work for. Dominic stepped closer. Rain began falling again. His face darkened. Then tell me. Emma's lips trembled. Finally. The truth started to break. They work for Victor Salazar. Marco's expression changed instantly. Dominic's eyes became stone. Because that name meant only one thing. Power. Blood. Cartels. Mafia. Death. Emma continued in a whisper. He's their father. Dominic went still. Completely still. Even Marco looked shocked. Emma's tears began falling. He is the father of my twins. The world seemed to stop. Dominic stared at her. Unmoving. Unblinking. Emma's voice broke with emotion. I ran away 4 years ago. He wanted the children. Not because he loved them. Her voice shattered. But because he wanted heirs. Her tears fell faster. He said one son would inherit his empire, and the girl would be used for alliances. Dominic's face turned dangerously dark. A storm entered his eyes. Emma whispered through tears. So I ran. I disappeared. I changed cities. I changed names. I hid them from him. Her breathing became heavier. And now? She looked toward the gate. He found us. Dominic said nothing for several long seconds. Then slowly, very slowly, he turned toward Marco. His voice was ice. Double the guards. Lock every gate. No one enters without my order. Marco nodded and left immediately. Then Dominic looked back at Emma. His voice was low, deadly calm. And why, he said slowly. Did one child call me Dad? Emma's heart nearly stopped. Because now, the biggest truth was standing between them. She looked into his eyes. And for the first time, she could not run. Her lips trembled. Her voice barely came out. Because. She paused. Tears falling harder. Because Victor is not their real father. Dominic's eyes narrowed. The air became heavy. Emma's next words would change everything. She whispered. The twins' real father. Her voice cracked. Is the man I was forced to betray 4 years ago. Dominic took one slow step forward. His face unreadable. Who? Emma looked directly into his eyes. And whispered the name. A name that made Dominic's entire body freeze. You. The rain outside grew heavier. Thunder rolled across the dark sky. But inside the mansion, everything had gone silent. A silence so deep that Emma could hear her own heartbeat. Dominic stood in front of her like a statue. Still. Cold. Unreadable. His gray eyes were locked on her face. As if the world had stopped moving. As if time itself had frozen. Emma's breathing became shallow. She had said it. The truth she had buried for 4 years. The truth she had carried alone every single day. The twins' real father was Dominic Moretti. For a long moment, Dominic said nothing. Not a single word. His jaw tightened. His hands slowly curled into fists. Then finally, in a voice so low it almost sounded like a whisper, he said, Say that again. Emma's throat tightened. Her voice shook. They are your children. The words hit the room like lightning. Dominic stepped back. His face hardened. No. Just one word. But it carried disbelief. Anger. Shock. Emma's eyes filled with tears. It's the truth. Dominic's voice became colder. How? Emma closed her eyes for a second. Memories rushed back. Painful memories. Beautiful memories. Dangerous memories. Then she slowly looked at him. You don't remember me. Dominic stared at her. Emma continued softly. 4 years ago. In Rome. That made him pause. A faint shadow crossed his face. As if an old memory was trying to wake up. Emma took a shaky breath. It was during the Moretti-Salazar peace meeting. Dominic's eyes narrowed. He remembered that meeting. A dangerous negotiation between powerful families. Emma's voice trembled. I was working as an interpreter. His expression changed. Very slightly. Because now, something was beginning to connect. Emma continued. You were different that night. Her voice softened. You smiled. For the first time, Dominic's eyes moved. A flicker of memory. Emma's tears slipped down. You stayed after the meeting. You said you hated business dinners. A weak, painful smile touched her lips. You said I was the only honest person in that room. Dominic's face darkened. He remembered. The rooftop. The city lights. The woman in the black dress. Soft brown eyes. A nervous smile. Emma. His breathing slowed. Then she whispered. We spent one night together. The room felt heavier. Dominic looked away for a second. His mind was racing. He remembered the night. He remembered her. But then, she disappeared. Without a word. Without a goodbye. Without telling him anything. His eyes snapped back to hers. And Victor? Emma's face fell. Her voice broke. He found out. Dominic's expression turned cold again. Emma's tears fell faster. He was obsessed with forming an alliance. He wanted power. He believed marrying me would secure a stronger bond between families. Her voice cracked. But when he learned I was pregnant, she looked down. He assumed the children were his. Dominic's eyes darkened dangerously. Emma continued. I tried to tell him the truth. But he wouldn't listen. He said it didn't matter. Her voice became weaker. He only cared about what the children represented. Power. Legacy. Control. Dominic's hands clenched harder. Emma whispered. So I ran. The silence after that felt suffocating. Dominic slowly turned away, walking toward the tall windows. Rain touched the glass behind him. For the first time since Emma had known him, he looked shaken. Not angry. Not violent. Shaken. Because the two children playing in his garden were his flesh and blood. His son. His daughter. And he had never known. His voice came low. Why didn't you tell me? Emma's tears kept falling. Because I was afraid. Dominic turned sharply. Afraid of me? Emma looked straight into his eyes. No. Her voice trembled. I was afraid for them. That answer hit differently. Dominic's expression softened for a second. Emma continued. If Victor ever knew they were yours. Her voice broke. There would be war. Dominic's face became stone. Because she was right. A war between Moretti and Salazar families would drown the city in blood. And the twins would become targets. Emma whispered. I couldn't risk their lives. Dominic said nothing. But something inside him was changing. A storm. A dangerous storm. Because now this was no longer business. No longer territory. No longer power. This was personal. These were his children. His blood. And someone had dared hunt them. Suddenly the door opened. Marco entered quickly. Boss. Dominic turned. Marco's face was tense. They tried the east gate. Emma's heart stopped. Dominic's expression instantly darkened. How many? 4 men. Armed. Emma pulled the twins closer instinctively. Fear flooded her body. Victor had found them. Dominic's voice dropped into something terrifyingly calm. Take Emma and the children to the safe room. Emma looked at him. What about you? His eyes moved to her. Cold. Focused. I'm ending this. Emma's breath caught. No. She stepped closer. You don't understand, Victor. Dominic looked at her with dangerous stillness. I understand enough. Emma shook her head desperately. He doesn't stop. He doesn't forgive. He doesn't lose. Dominic stepped closer. Now only inches away. His voice was ice. Neither do I. Those words sent chills through her. Because she knew he meant every single word. Marco quickly moved toward the children. Come with me. Lily clung to Emma. Ethan looked scared. Then Ethan suddenly looked at Dominic. His little voice trembled. Are you coming too? The question hit Dominic harder than bullets. For a second, his face softened. He knelt in front of Ethan. His voice lowered. I'll be there soon. Ethan nodded slowly. Then asked the question that changed the moment completely. Are you really my dad? Silence. Emma's heart pounded. Dominic looked into the little boy's eyes. And for the first time, something broke inside him. He gently touched Ethan's hair. Yes. The boy stared at him. Then whispered, I knew it. Emma felt tears rise again. Because somehow, children always know. Marco quickly led them away. The safe room was hidden behind the library wall. A thick steel door closed behind them. Emma sat with the twins in her arms, her entire body trembling. Outside, she could hear distant footsteps, voices. Then, a gunshot. Lily screamed. Emma held both children tightly. It's okay. But her own voice was shaking. Another gunshot echoed. Then another. Her mind filled with fear. Dominic. What if something happened to him? What if the twins lost him the same moment they found him? Minutes felt like hours. The room was silent except for the children's breathing. Then finally, the door opened. Emma jumped to her feet. Dominic stepped inside. Alive. But there was blood on his shirt. Emma's heart stopped. Are you hurt? He shook his head. Not mine. Her breath caught. Victor's men. Dominic's face was darker than ever. They won't come back tonight. But Emma could see something in his eyes. This was far from over. The twins ran to him. Lily wrapped her arms around his leg. Ethan looked up. Did the bad guys go away? Dominic knelt again. His voice softened. Yes. I won't let anyone hurt you. The children hugged him. And Emma stood there frozen, watching the man she had feared for years become something else entirely. A father. A protector. A wall between danger and her children. That night, after the twins finally slept, Emma stood alone on the balcony. The city lights below shimmered in the rain. Dominic stepped beside her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Emma whispered, This is my fault. Dominic looked at her. No. Her voice broke. I brought this danger here. Dominic turned fully toward her. His eyes were intense. You brought my children to me. Emma looked down. Pain filled her face. I should have told you. Dominic was silent. Then said quietly, Yes. The honesty shocked her. But then his voice softened. But I understand why you didn't. Emma looked up slowly. Dominic continued. You were protecting them. His eyes moved toward the room where the twins slept. And now I will too. Emma stared at him. Because for the first time, she believed him. Then Dominic said something that changed everything again. Victor won't stop. Emma's heart tightened. Dominic's voice became darker. He now knows where you are. He knows the children are here. He stepped closer. And once he learns they are mine. He paused. The silence itself felt dangerous. Emma whispered. What happens then? Dominic's eyes turned cold as steel. War. The word hit like thunder. Emma's breath stopped. Because she knew what that meant. Bodies. Blood. Revenge. Chaos. Her voice trembled. There has to be another way. Dominic looked toward the storm outside. There isn't. Then suddenly Marco's voice came from behind. Boss. Dominic turned. Marco's face was pale. For the first time, even he looked shaken. What is it? Marco swallowed hard. We intercepted a message. Dominic's expression darkened. From Victor. Emma's heart pounded violently. Marco's next words made the entire room freeze. He says if Emma and the twins are not returned by sunrise. He paused. His voice lowered. He will burn the city to the ground. Silence. Pure silence. Emma's hands began shaking uncontrollably. Because Victor meant it. Dominic slowly turned toward the window. His voice came low. Deadly. Then by sunrise. He looked back. Victor Salazar dies. The night felt heavier than ever. Outside the mansion, thunder rolled across the sky. Rain poured over the iron gates like the city itself was crying. Inside, no one spoke. After Marco delivered Victor's message, the air in the room changed. It no longer felt like fear. It felt like war. Dominic stood near the window, his back straight, his hands behind him. The storm outside reflected in the glass. Cold. Dark. Violent. Just like the storm rising inside him. Emma looked at him, her heart racing. She knew that face. That silence. That stillness. It was more dangerous than shouting. More dangerous than anger. Because this was the face of a man who had already made his decision. Her voice trembled. Dominic, please. He slowly turned toward her. His gray eyes were sharp as steel. There is no other way. Emma shook her head. There must be. Her tears began to fall again. If you go after Victor, this city will drown in blood. Dominic took one step closer. His voice was low. Controlled. But if I do nothing, he comes for my children. Those words changed everything. My children. He said it so naturally. So firmly. As if his soul had already accepted the truth. Emma's breath caught. For years, she had carried this burden alone. And now, someone else was carrying it with her. Dominic's voice became colder. He threatened you. He looked toward the room where the twins slept. He threatened them. Then his eyes locked onto hers. That ends tonight. Emma's heart sank. Because she knew Victor. He was cruel. Smart. Patient. And deadly. This would not be easy. Marco stepped forward. Cars are ready, boss. Dominic nodded. Then he looked at Emma. Stay here. Her eyes widened. No. Her voice came stronger now. I'm coming with you. Dominic's expression hardened instantly. No. Emma moved closer. This is because of me. Dominic's jaw tightened. This is because of him. He pointed toward the storm outside. Emma shook her head desperately. You don't understand Victor like I do. Dominic stepped even closer. Now only inches away. His voice dropped. Then tell me. Emma took a shaky breath. And finally, she said the truth she had never fully spoken aloud. He doesn't want only the twins. Dominic's eyes narrowed. Emma's voice broke. He wants revenge. The room went silent. She continued. For years ago, Victor believed I belonged to him. Dominic's face darkened dangerously. Emma's tears fell faster. When I disappeared, he lost face. In his world, that is unforgivable. She looked directly into Dominic's eyes. This is not only about power. It's personal. Dominic's voice turned to ice. Then he made the worst mistake of his life. Before Emma could stop him, he turned toward Marco. Move. In the safe room, Ethan and Lily had woken up. The storm outside scared them. Lily clung tightly to Emma's arm. Mommy. Her little voice trembled. Are the bad men coming? Emma forced a gentle smile. No, sweetheart. But before she could say more, Dominic walked into the room. The twins immediately looked at him. Something had changed. Even in their innocent little eyes. They saw safety in him. Dominic knelt in front of them. His voice softened in a way only Emma had begun to see. No one will touch you. Ethan looked up at him. Promise? Dominic placed his large hand gently on the boy's shoulder. I promise. Then Lily quietly asked, Will you stay with us? That question hit him deeply. For a moment, his expression softened. Then he looked at Emma. And something unspoken passed between them. A silent understanding. He stood up slowly. I need to go fix something. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Don't go. Dominic froze. Emma saw it. The conflict in his face. The war between protector and father. Then Dominic did something unexpected. He bent down and kissed Lily's forehead. Then Ethan's. His voice came low. I'll come back before sunrise. The twins nodded slowly. But as he turned to leave, Ethan suddenly ran forward and hugged his leg. Please come back, Dad. Silence. Emma's breath stopped. Dominic looked down at the little boy holding onto him. For the first time, his eyes softened completely. He slowly placed his hand on Ethan's head. I will. Then he walked out. And the door closed behind him. Emma stood frozen. Because now there was no denying it. He wasn't just protecting them. He had already become their father. The city outside was drenched in rain. 3 black SUVs moved through the empty streets. Inside the first one, Dominic sat in silence. Marco drove. 2 men followed in the back. All armed. All silent. No one dared speak. Because everyone in that car knew what tonight meant. War. Marco finally broke the silence. We traced Victor's men to the old harbor warehouse. Dominic's eyes stayed fixed ahead. How many? At least 12. Dominic's face didn't change. Not enough. Marco glanced at him. Boss. Victor may be expecting us. Dominic's voice remained calm. Good. The car kept moving through the storm. Rain hit the windshield hard. The city lights blurred in the darkness. And Dominic's mind kept returning to one thing. Ethan's voice. "Please come back, Dad." No one had ever called him that before. And yet, it felt like something inside him had always been waiting to hear it. His fists tightened. Victor had touched what was his. And men like Dominic did not forgive that. Back at the mansion, Emma couldn't sit still. Every sound made her jump. Every thunderclap felt like a gunshot. Lucia entered quietly. She brought warm milk for the twins. But when she saw Emma's face, she immediately understood. "He went." Emma nodded. Lucia sighed softly. "He always goes when it matters." Emma looked at her. "What if something happens to him?" Lucia gave a sad smile. "My brother has survived things most men would never walk away from." She paused. "But tonight is different." Emma's heart dropped. "Why?" Lucia looked toward the storm. "Because this time, he has something to lose." Those words hit Emma deeply. Because it was true. Before tonight, Dominic fought for power. For territory. For respect. But now, he was fighting for his children. And that made him even more dangerous. At the harbor warehouse, the rain fell like needles. The large metal doors stood half open. Inside, darkness. Shadows. Silence. Marco stepped out first. Clear. Dominic followed. The men spread out. Guns ready. The smell of oil and seawater filled the air. Then, a voice echoed from the darkness. "I was wondering when you'd come." Victor Salazar stepped into the light. Tall. Elegant. Deadly. A cruel smile touched his lips. His dark coat moved slightly in the wind. Emma had been right. This man was terrifying. Victor's eyes locked onto Dominic. So the famous Moretti boss finally came. Dominic's face remained expressionless. "You threatened my family." Victor laughed softly. "Your family?" His smile widened. "You mean my children?" Dominic's eyes turned deadly. "They are mine." Victor's face darkened. For the first time, his smile disappeared. The tension in the room became suffocating. Victor's voice lowered. "She was promised to me." Dominic took one slow step forward. "She chose to leave." Victor's expression twisted with rage. "She stole what belongs to me." Dominic's voice became ice. "They were never yours." The storm outside crashed louder. Victor slowly pulled out a gun. Marco and the others immediately raised theirs. Chaos stood 1 second away. Victor smiled coldly. "Then let's settle this." Before anyone could react, gunfire exploded. Shots echoed through the warehouse. Glass shattered. Men shouted. The storm outside mixed with the sound of bullets. Dominic moved like a shadow. Cold. Precise. Merciless. Within seconds, Victor's men were falling. Marco covered the left side. Dominic moved straight toward Victor. 2 men tried to block him. Both went down instantly. Victor backed away. For the first time, fear entered his eyes. Dominic reached him. Grabbed him by the collar. Slammed him against a steel pillar. His voice was low. Terrifying. "You hunted my children." Victor coughed, blood at the corner of his mouth. "They will always be targets." That was the last mistake he made. Dominic's eyes turned completely dark. "You should never have said that." Then, a gunshot. But not from Dominic. Marco shouted. "Boss!" Dominic turned sharply. A hidden shooter from the upper level. The bullet had hit Dominic's shoulder. Blood spread across his shirt. Victor used the moment. He pushed Dominic back and ran into the darkness. Marco shot the hidden man down. Then rushed to Dominic. "You're hit!" Dominic looked at the blood. Then toward the darkness where Victor escaped. His face became colder than death itself. "No." Marco looked confused. Dominic's voice dropped. "He doesn't get to run." Back at the mansion, Emma stood near the window. Then suddenly, her phone rang. Unknown number. Her heart stopped. Slowly, she answered. "Hello?" A familiar voice came through. Cold. Cruel. "Victor." Emma's blood ran cold. His voice came like poison. "You should have left the city." Her hands started shaking. "No." Victor laughed softly. "Tell Dominic this isn't over." Then his voice dropped into something terrifying. "By tomorrow night, I'm taking my son." The line went dead. Emma's heart nearly stopped. Because Victor was still alive. And now, he was coming for Ethan. The phone slipped from Emma's hand. It hit the floor with a sharp sound. Her whole body froze. Victor was alive. And worse than that, he was coming back. For Ethan. Her breathing turned fast and uneven. Her fingers trembled so badly she had to hold the edge of the table. Lucia rushed toward her. "Emma? What happened?" Emma looked up, pale with fear. Her lips barely moved. It was Victor. Lucia's face changed instantly. All the softness disappeared. "What did he say?" Emma swallowed hard. Her voice cracked. "He said by tomorrow night." Her eyes filled with tears. "He's taking Ethan." Silence filled the room. Heavy. Terrifying. Lucia immediately picked up the phone and dialed Marco. "Tell Dominic now." Emma's heart pounded so hard it hurt. Her eyes moved toward the twins' room. They were sleeping. Safe. For now. But how long? That question kept tearing through her mind. How long? 1 hour later, the mansion doors opened. Dominic walked in. His white shirt was stained with blood. His shoulder was bandaged. Rain still clung to his dark hair. But his eyes were the most frightening thing. Cold. Sharp. And burning with fury. The moment he saw Emma, he knew. Something was wrong. What happened? Emma rushed toward him. Her voice broke instantly. He called. Dominic's jaw tightened. "Victor." Emma nodded. Her tears fell. "He said he's coming back for Ethan." For a second, Dominic became completely still. Then the room changed. The air itself felt colder. More dangerous. His voice dropped into something terrifyingly calm. "Marco." Marco stepped forward immediately. "Boss. Lock the entire estate. No one enters. No one leaves." Marco nodded and moved quickly. Dominic turned back to Emma. His voice softened only slightly. "Where are the children?" "Asleep." Dominic didn't say another word. He walked straight toward their room. Emma followed. The door opened quietly. Moonlight spilled across the room. Ethan and Lily were sleeping peacefully, completely unaware of the storm around them. Dominic stood near the doorway, watching them. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he slowly walked toward Ethan's bed. He looked down at the little boy. His son. His blood. His future. A dangerous softness moved across Dominic's face. He gently touched Ethan's hair. Very lightly. As if afraid to wake him. Emma stood near the door, tears in her eyes. Because in that moment, Dominic was no mafia boss. No feared king of the city. He was just a father. A father who had found his child too late. His voice came low. Almost a whisper. He won't touch him. Emma wanted to believe that. More than anything. But fear kept crawling inside her. Because Victor was not a man who gave up. The next morning, the mansion looked like a fortress. Guards at every gate. Cars outside. Men checking every entrance. Marco had doubled security. Then tripled it. Still, Emma couldn't breathe properly. Every little sound made her jump. Every shadow looked suspicious. At breakfast, Ethan noticed the tension. He looked at Dominic. Why are there so many men outside? Dominic looked at him calmly. They're here to keep everyone safe. Ethan nodded. Then asked quietly. From the bad man? The room went silent. Emma looked down. But Dominic answered directly. Yes. Lily clutched Emma's hand. Will he come here? Dominic looked at both children. His voice was steady. No one comes here unless I allow it. The confidence in his voice was almost enough to calm Emma. Almost. Then Ethan looked at Dominic again. Will you stay with us today? For a second, Dominic's expression softened. Yes. And he did. The entire day, he stayed close. Closer than anyone had ever seen him with anyone. He sat with the twins in the garden. Helped Ethan build small towers with blocks. Watched Lily draw flowers and little houses. Emma stood near the window, watching. Her heart twisted. Because this should have happened years ago. He should have been there for their first words. Their first steps. Their first fears. And yet, despite everything, he fit into their world so naturally. Like he had always belonged. That evening, the storm returned. Rain hit the windows. Thunder rolled above the city. Emma tucked Lily into bed. Dominic sat with Ethan, telling him a short story. A simple story about a brave lion protecting his cubs. Ethan listened with wide eyes. Then asked softly, Are you the lion? Dominic looked at him. A small smile touched his lips. Yes. Ethan smiled. Then I'm not scared. Those words hit Emma deeply. Because for the first time in years, Ethan truly felt safe. When both children finally slept, Emma stepped out into the hallway. Dominic was already there. The two stood in silence. Then Emma spoke softly. You're hurt. Her eyes moved to his shoulder. The bandage was visible under his black shirt. Dominic's expression didn't change. It's nothing. Emma stepped closer. It's not nothing. Her voice was filled with emotion. You could have died. Dominic looked at her. His gray eyes softened. But I didn't. Emma looked down. Fear still sat heavy in her chest. What if Victor comes himself? Dominic's face darkened. Then he won't leave alive. Before Emma could answer, the lights suddenly went out. Darkness. Complete darkness. Emma gasped. The entire mansion fell silent. Then, a loud scream from upstairs. Lily. Emma's heart stopped. Lily. She ran. Dominic moved faster. They reached the children's room. The door was open. The window shattered. Rain blowing inside. Lily stood crying near the bed. But Ethan was gone. Emma's entire world collapsed. No. Her voice came out broken. No, 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 no. She rushed to the bed. Empty. The blanket thrown aside. The window curtains moving wildly in the storm. Lily cried harder. The bad man took Ethan. Emma felt her knees give out. Dominic caught her before she fell. But his own face had turned into something terrifying. A darkness Emma had never seen before. Marco! His voice shook the hallway. Marco appeared instantly. Boss! Dominic pointed to the broken window. They took him. For 1 second, even Marco looked stunned. Then he moved. Search every inch of the grounds. Men started running. Voices echoed through the mansion. Emma collapsed beside Lily, holding her tightly. Her tears would not stop. He took my baby. Dominic knelt beside her. His face was cold. But his voice was controlled. He's alive. Emma looked at him desperately. How do you know? Dominic's eyes turned to stone. Because Victor wants leverage. Those words gave her a tiny thread of hope. Tiny. Painful. But hope. Then Marco returned. Breathing hard. We found this. He handed Dominic a black envelope. Dominic opened it. Inside was a single note. His face darkened instantly. Emma's voice trembled. What does it say? Dominic looked at her. Then read it aloud. Midnight. Old Cathedral. Come alone if you want your son alive. Emma's heart shattered. No. Her voice broke. It's a trap. Dominic's eyes remained cold. Yes. Emma grabbed his arm. You can't go alone. Dominic looked down at her hand. Then into her eyes. I have to. Emma shook her head desperately. He wants to kill you. Dominic's voice dropped. Then he'll die trying. Emma's tears fell harder. Please. For the first time, her voice became raw. Human. Broken. I just found you in their lives. Don't leave them. Dominic stared at her. Then gently touched her face. A soft, unexpected touch. I'm bringing our son home. The way he said our son broke something inside Emma. Because despite all the fear, despite all the danger, she knew one thing. He meant it. The old cathedral stood at the edge of the city. Dark. Abandoned. Rain poured over its broken stone walls. Dominic arrived alone. Exactly at midnight. The massive doors creaked open. Inside, candlelight flickered. And there, Victor stood in the center, with Ethan beside him. The little boy's hands tied. His eyes filled with fear. Dad! The word echoed through the cathedral. Dominic's entire body tensed. Victor smiled. There it is. He looked at Ethan. He already knows. Dominic's voice was ice. Let him go. Victor laughed softly. No. He stepped closer to Ethan. You took what belonged to me. Dominic's eyes turned deadly. He is not yours. Victor's smile twisted. Then let's see which father he chooses. Those words made Dominic go still. Victor slowly untied Ethan. Then pushed him forward. Go on. Choose. The little boy stood shaking. Rain and thunder echoed outside. His small eyes moved between the two men. Victor extended his hand. Dominic said nothing. He simply knelt, opened his arms, and waited. Ethan's lip trembled. Then he ran. Straight past Victor. Straight into Dominic's arms. Dad! Victor's face darkened with rage. And in that exact second, a gunshot echoed. The morning sun entered softly through the large windows of the penthouse. Golden light spread across the white walls. For the first time in many months, Sophia woke up feeling peace. Not fear. Not panic. Not the constant weight of looking over her shoulder. Peace. She slowly opened her eyes. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then she felt something warm beside her. Dominic. He was still asleep. One arm resting protectively around her waist. Even in sleep, he held her as if the world could not take her away. Sophia looked at him quietly. The feared Mafia boss. The man the whole city whispered about. The man who could make grown men tremble. Yet right now, he looked nothing like a monster. He looked tired. Human. Broken in ways no one else could see. Her eyes moved to the small scar near his jaw. Then to the faint lines near his eyes. A man who had seen too much darkness. A man who had spent years hiding his heart behind power. And somehow, that heart now belonged to her. Sophia slowly got out of bed. She did not want to wake him. The twins were already awake. She could hear soft laughter from the living room. Aiden and Lily. Their laughter. The sound that had kept her alive through the darkest nights. She walked out quietly. And what she saw made her stop. Aiden and Lily were sitting on the floor. And Dominic was sitting with them. He was now awake. Still in a black shirt, sleeves rolled up. No phone. No bodyguards. No business. Just him. On the floor. Playing with toy blocks. Sophia stared in silence. Because the Dominic Castellano she first knew would never do this. But this Dominic, this man, was building a little toy house with the twins. Lily giggled. No, this goes here. Dominic looked serious. Are you sure, princess? Lily nodded proudly. Yes. He smiled. A real smile. Sophia's heart tightened. Then Aiden looked up. Mommy! Both children ran toward her. She knelt and hugged them tightly. Then Lily turned back toward Dominic. And in the most innocent voice, she said the words that changed everything. Daddy made us breakfast. Silence. The entire room froze. Sophia's heart stopped. Dominic slowly lifted his eyes. For the first time, the mighty Mafia boss looked shocked. Sophia looked at Lily. Her breathing became shallow. Lily smiled innocently. Daddy made pancakes. Sophia felt the blood rush to her face. Her hands trembled slightly. She quickly looked at Dominic. He was staring at Lily. Then at Sophia. His expression unreadable. The silence stretched. Heavy. Dangerous. Emotional. Sophia swallowed hard. Lily. she whispered softly. But Lily looked confused. What? Then Aiden added innocently. Yeah. Daddy helped me with my car too. Sophia could not breathe. Because this was the moment she had feared. The moment truth and emotion collided. The twins had become attached to him. Too attached. And now, the line between protector and family had disappeared. Sophia looked at Dominic. She expected anger, questions, suspicion. But instead, his eyes softened. Something deep moved inside him. Something almost painful. He slowly looked back at the twins. Then he asked quietly, "Why do you call me that?" Lily answered without thinking. "Because you protect Mommy," Aiden added. "And because you stay when she cries." Dominic went still. Sophia saw it. That small shift in his face. That invisible wound opening inside him. Children never lie. Their truth is pure. And those simple words hit him harder than any bullet ever could. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Because the children had said what she herself had been too afraid to admit. Dominic had already become part of their world. Part of their hearts. Part of their home. The room fell silent again. Then Dominic slowly stood. He walked toward Sophia. Toward the twins. And knelt in front of them. His voice was calm. Gentle. "If your mommy is okay with it," he said softly, "then I will always protect all three of you." Sophia's tears slipped down. Because she understood what he really meant. Not just protect. Stay. Forever. The twins hugged him instantly. And for the first time, Dominic hugged them back. Like a father. Like a man who had finally found something worth living for. But peace never lasts long. That same evening, Marco entered the penthouse. His face serious. Dominic immediately stood. "What happened?" Marco's voice was low. "We found him." Sophia's heart dropped. Victor Moretti. The real father of the twins. The man who had vanished years ago. The man everyone believed dead. Marco continued. "He's alive." The room turned cold. Sophia felt the floor disappear beneath her. No. No. This was impossible. Dominic's face darkened. "Where?" Marco looked directly at him. "He's in New York." Sophia's breathing turned uneven. Fear returned. Raw. Violent. The kind that grips your throat. Because Victor was not just a man from her past. He was the reason she ran. The reason she hid the twins. The reason she spent years living in fear. Dominic slowly turned toward her. His eyes sharp. "You know him." It was not a question. Sophia's silence gave the answer. Her voice trembled. "Yes." Dominic stepped closer. "Tell me everything." Sophia closed her eyes. And after years of silence, she finally spoke the truth. Victor Moretti was not just dangerous. Her lips trembled. He was Dominic's biggest enemy. The room went silent. Marco's eyes widened. Dominic's expression turned dark. Sophia continued. "Years ago, Victor kidnapped me because he wanted revenge on Dominic." Her voice cracked. "I was pregnant, and I did not know." Dominic froze. Completely. Sophia's tears fell harder. "When I escaped, I ran before I could tell anyone." Her voice broke. And when the twins were born, she looked at Dominic with trembling eyes. I never knew who their father really was. Silence. Dead silence. Then Dominic whispered, "What do you mean?" Sophia looked directly into his eyes and said the words that shattered his world. "They are yours." Everything stopped. Marco looked stunned. Dominic did not move. Did not blink. Did not breathe. Sophia's voice shook. "The night before Victor took me." Her tears fell uncontrollably. "It was you." Dominic stepped back as if the world had hit him. His eyes moved toward the twins, playing innocently on the carpet, laughing, living. His children. His blood. His family. Aiden. Lily. His. The mighty Dominic Castellano looked completely broken. Emotion crashed through him. Shock. Pain. Disbelief. Love. Rage. Sophia whispered through tears, "I was terrified. I thought if Victor found out, he would use them against you. So I disappeared." Dominic slowly looked back at her, his voice almost a whisper. "You hid my children from me." Sophia nodded, crying, "Yes." A long silence followed. Then Dominic looked at the twins again, his voice low, dangerously calm. "Victor knows?" Sophia shook her head. "I don't think so." Dominic's jaw tightened. His eyes turned ice cold. The room itself seemed to darken. Because now, this was no longer just about love. This was war. No one touches his woman. No one threatens his children. No one. Marco asked quietly, "What do you want us to do?" Dominic's voice became steel. "Lock down every entrance. Double security. No one enters this building without my permission." Then his gray eyes turned deadly. "And bring Victor to me." Sophia felt a chill run through her body. Because she knew what that meant. This city was about to burn. Dominic walked toward the twins. He knelt beside them. His voice soft again. "Aiden. Lily." They looked up smiling. "Yes." He touched their hair gently. And for the first time, said the words from his heart. "I'm your dad." The twins smiled, as if they had always known. Lily hugged him. "I knew it." Aiden laughed. "I told Mommy." Sophia broke into tears. Dominic looked at her. No anger. No blame. Only something deeper. Something stronger. Family. He stood and walked toward her. Then held her face gently. His voice low. "You should have told me." Sophia whispered, "I was afraid." He nodded slowly. "I know." Then he kissed her forehead. But no more fear. His eyes turned dark. "Not while I'm alive." Outside, thunder rolled across the city. Inside, war had begun. Victor Moretti was coming. And this time, Dominic was not fighting for power. He was fighting for his children. For Sophia. For his family. And men like Dominic Castellano become most dangerous when they fight for love. And just like that, the truth was finally out. The twins were never just a secret. They were Dominic's blood, his heart, and now his greatest reason to fight. Sophia had spent years running from fear, hiding in the shadows, trying to protect her children from a dangerous world. but fate had brought her back to the one man powerful enough to protect them all. Now this was no longer just a love story. This was a war for family. A war for truth. A war for the future of two innocent children. And when a man like Dominic Castellano fights for the people he loves, the whole world shakes. But the biggest question still remains. What will happen when Victor returns? Will love finally win? Or will the dark world of the Mafia destroy everything they built together? If you enjoyed this story and want to see more emotional, suspenseful stories like this one, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next powerful story. See you in the next story.